Hello, everybody. We are back with another episode of the Nintendo Pipeline Podcast. Episode 69, in fact.
Oh wow,
Yeah, I know.
a good one
Uh,
to come back on.
I know, crazy. Um, so we recently had a Nintendo Partner Direct, which I know some people tend to dread. But there was a lot of stuff in this one. It was about 25 minutes long. Um, Before we get to that, though, hi, I'm CMM. I'm Clay. I'm going to be your host today, and with me I've got.
Hi, I'm One Up Muffin, but you can call me Jared.
Hell yeah. So it's just gonna be us today, kind of talking about some of the cool stuff
hmm
um
Yeah,
from the presentation.
I think
Um,
people are more welcoming of a partner direct because there hasn't been a regular direct in a long, long time. So people are like, anything's better than nothing.
yeah, it has been a little bit. I mean, granted, we usually expect some kind of presentation
Mhm.
around this time of year.
Yeah,
Um, I guess we can talk about some of the big highlights first.
you just heard the big ones first.
Yeah, we can
Okay,
start with the
okay,
big ones
okay,
first.
okay,
So
okay.
we'll start with the closer actually for
Yeah,
once.
the
Endless
Nintendo game.
Ocean. Yeah, the one the Eureka and Nintendo game in here, Endless Ocean Luminous, which is a sequel to the Endless Ocean games on Wii. And I'm personally very happy that this is a sequel and not a
Mhm.
remaster.
Yeah, I mean, in a time where it feels like everything is a
hmm
remake or a remaster, I was very happy that it was a brand new game.
Yeah, and I mean, so I guess we can mention certain aspects of this presentation leaked in advance, and one of those was that there was some sort of endless ocean there. So going into it, I was very curious as to whether it would simply be like a remaster, or like a 1+2 thing, or
Yeah,
but them going full sequel with 30 player online scuba diving is pretty neat.
yeah,
Um,
it's nice, and it makes me actually want to go back and buy one of the old games. Give it a
yeah,
go.
I like that a series like this can get a spotlight. Um, in a presentation like this, and that we
Mhm.
still have entries in some of these smaller series, like,
Yeah, it
you
looks
know,
pretty too. Like
yeah,
it's a Rico's reward for spending so many years working on the 99 games.
yeah, they get to do another Endless Ocean. I'm curious
It's
how
they've been Yes, come on.
I was just say I'm curious how the online will run, but um,
It should run great. They've had so much practice.
I mean, you're not wrong.
I hope there's like, I mean, like I don't want it to be like a battle royale, but like
No,
hopefully like
no,
it's like fun to play with friends and like hopefully you're like the progress you
yeah. Well, it
uh
looks like
carries over.
there's like a map, and you can like see where people are and like share stuff that you found on the map with each
Okay.
other. So
Yeah. It's also like semi like parts of it will be random.
yeah, it's kind of unclear. They talked about the Veiled Sea as a place that changes every time you dive into it. So I
Mhm.
don't know if it's the entire ocean is randomized every time you go into it, or if it's like, or what the deal is there. They didn't really
Mhm. Yeah.
specify.
Hopefully it
Uh,
still has like the good exploring and underwater stuff, but it looks fun.
yeah,
I
they
wanted to say like Arika's been like doing ocean games
yeah
since like the PS2. They love this shit.
yeah they do. They
It's
had
definitely
those.
like someone like a lot like either one person or like multiple people's like super passion on that team is to like just work on ocean games.
Yeah, it's like Eureka's like super into ocean games, super into Tetris, and super
Mhm.
into fighting games. Like that's their three branches. So they've been doing
Yeah.
fighting layer EX.
Oh yeah.
Um, they obviously did the TGM Tetris Grandmaster series and a lot of
I gotta try
99 and
Fighting
puzzle
Layer.
games. Yeah, I need to spend time with that too. It's on Switch, it's on PS4.
I forgot
Um,
they made a sequel to that. Now that I'm back
yeah,
like into fighters, that's
yeah.
kind of appealing.
And I don't remember. I believe the PS4 and Switch version of the of Fighting EX Layer is a free to download game, and you get
Oh,
like a
okay.
character or two, and then you can
Mhm.
buy
Okay.
what you want. You don't entirely remember, not gonna lie.
Hmm.
Um,
The the
but
first Ever Blue came out in 2001.
that's right. Everblue, it was the
Yeah,
PS2
it's the
version.
pre-Endless Ocean.
Yeah. And then they had Endless Ocean and Endless Ocean Forever Blue. And they also had that I don't know, I believe it was Eureka, that canceled Wii game that was supposed to be like a space exploration
Oh, I didn't
style
hear about
game. I
that.
can't remember what it was, what the temporary name for that was. I believe, I don't know if it was ever specified that it was Eureka, but I think the thinking at the time was that it was Eureka because it seemed like Endless Ocean but in space.
Hmm,
Um,
that sounds cool.
and then yeah, well, obviously we haven't had, didn't have anything on Wii U or any handheld entries, and now at the end of
Yeah.
Switch life cycle we got Endless Ocean Luminous, which I like that it has some fantasy elements in it too. Like it has
Yeah,
like
like
some of the
there's
fish that are like extinct or like ones that are
mhm,
like not real.
mythical fish. So, I
Yeah.
mean, maybe you'll find like the Loch Ness monster or some shit.
Yeah, we'll find Nessie in there somewhere. Uh maybe Sasquatch with a scuba mask
So I
swimming.
haven't played the old ones, but one
Yeah.
thing that I have read about that I hope comes back
Mhm.
is in the second one that you can like have your own like reef area and like your
Mhm.
own like aquarium.
Yes.
And that
Yeah.
sounds really cool.
Yeah. I feel like that hat would have to
Yeah.
like there was the Street Pass game, the fishing one, where
Mhm.
you would have like your own aquariums and you could like share them with Street Pass, and I just like
Yeah.
the idea of having an aquarium.
I do too. It looks beautiful too. One of the screenshots, I can't tell if it's like an aquarium or it's like it looks like a fish heart meter. I don't know. It
Yeah,
looks so cool. I really
yeah,
hope they pull through because this looks like just a wonderful experience. And with like 500 creatures, like I've heard the old games can take like a long time to beat, so it looks like
yeah. The old games
something that could
had
have a
like
lot of depth to it.
the
Get
old
it?
games had like a God, the old games had like a weird like story to them. I'm kind of honestly hoping that they don't really go too wild with that this time because it was probably like the worst part of
Hmm.
the older ones. It's like I don't care about any of you or any of your whatever. I just want to dive in the sea and see cool stuff. So who knows? But um, that's May 2nd, so that fills in another monthly slot.
Oh, that's May. Okay.
Yeah,
Hmm.
May
So
2nd.
should I even try an old one before that one comes out, or should
Yeah,
I
I mean
just
it's pretty
dive
soon.
in? Yeah.
I know the first one in particular is like ultra cheap secondhand. It
Oh,
might
they both
be.
are. Wii
Oh,
games
they both
are
are.
the
Okay.
ones like one of the few systems that like I would
Yeah.
still be happy to like tell people, yeah, get yourself a
Yeah.
Wii.
Get your
Go
yeah.
for
It's
it.
still pretty budget. Yeah. I know
Mhm.
certain ones have kind of ballooned in silly ways, but there's plenty of other stuff. Oh yeah, that screenshot's neat.
I sent you a picture of a fish.
Yeah. It is
It's
indeed a
it's
fish.
it's the one with like it looks like a giant guppy
Yeah. It's
under like the far depths of the ocean.
yeah. Yeah.
Pretty sick.
Yeah. Um. So that was Endless Ocean. That was the
Mhm.
closer.
Yeah, that was
Um.
my that was my highlight. I'm sure that's a lot of highlights, but there's some other
Yeah.
cool stuff too, which CNN
Yeah.
is going to point out right now.
Sure. I guess we can start with the Microsoft stuff real quick, just because it's
Okay.
significant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Briefly, just because it's something that's been rumored for a while, and then they finally
Mhm.
confirmed. So Grounded is coming to Switch on April 16th, which it looked a bit rough.
It looks like a Switch port
It does. It does
of
indeed
like
look
an
like a Switch
Unreal
port.
game or
Yeah.
whatever it is.
And then they have Pentiment, which I believe came out as of this recording yesterday, and I've heard
Oh,
great
nice.
things about Pentiment.
Yeah, I
Um,
heard that's a great like I don't even know if I want to call it an RPG. It's like sort of like an
yeah,
adventure game.
yeah, it's got a very
Uh
distinct visual style that I think looks
yeah.
great. And then that same day as the direct, they announced Hi-Fi Rush and Sea of Thieves for
Mhm.
PS5, and of course,
Yeah.
there's rumors about those coming to the Switch successor as well. So I just
Yeah.
thought it was interesting that
Yeah, it
the
was cool.
presentation started with a Microsoft game. The
Mhm.
beginning of the presentation was probably the worst part because the pacing was very slow. Like
Yeah.
you had that, and then you had the Ender Lilies sequel, and that felt like those both of those segments just lasted for like 5 minutes.
I don't even remember the Ender Lilies thing.
Yeah, I don't think most people do.
No. I will
Not that it
say
was bad.
Grounded is actually cool.
Yeah,
Like it's I don't want to say it's quite like Subnautica, but it definitely has a lot more structure. Like there
yeah,
is like a story mode like in Subnautica. So it's not just
yeah.
like a full on like only open-ended game. There is like a objective, which I think
Yeah.
makes it a more interesting game to me.
I always
and
look
some
at
of the
it
other
and just
survival
think of
games.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yeah, which is what you're supposed to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I know people were saying, just to go back to since you mentioned it, people kept saying, "Oh, is Endless Ocean like Subnautica?" No. um, but yeah, so
But
there
in a
was that.
way, maybe.
Yeah. An actual somewhat major game that is so major that they've included it basically at the top of the press release is that Disney Epic Mickey Rebrushed.
Yeah, which I do you did you play the
hmm
original?
I did.
Is it good?
It's it's one of those things that on paper sounds a lot better than what it
Mhm.
actually is.
Yeah,
It
that's kind of what
wasn't
I've heard.
it wasn't like buggy or like broken or anything like that. It's
Mhm.
just very, this sounds so snooty, but the word I'm really feeling here is pedestrian. Like
Mm.
it's not that
Uninspired.
interesting. It's just not that interesting.
Yeah.
And it chugs a bit. I mean, it was a Wii release, and it kind of chugged there.
Yeah.
And then the footage they showed looked like it was kind of chugging a little bit as well. I know they said that there are certain things that they are working on improving, such as the camera, which was a big sticking point of the original,
Hmm.
and that there may be some new powers, and new content and other improvements. Um, it is also coming to other platforms, but the Switch version was obviously the one that they led with, for the announcement. Um, I'm kind
Yeah.
of in a wait and see mode
I
on it.
will. I like that THQ is bringing back these like mid-licensed platformers
It's kind of funny, yeah,
from
like
the
the
GameCube and
SpongeBob
Wii.
one.
Yeah, that like people have
Yeah,
like this like reverence for, but
yeah,
like, are they actually good? I don't know.
yeah.
But I will not. I will probably not be buying Epic Mickey rebrushed.
It is by the guys who did Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated and then the
Yeah,
new one
which
Cosmic
by
Shake.
all accounts seems fine.
It seems fine, yeah. I know they said that Warren Spector has been kind of giving his input and assistance
Mhm.
with it as well. Um, if it's able to run decently and address a lot of the issues of the original, then it could be good. But the problem for me is that the original is like beyond just like, the camera or like little issues. It just wasn't that fun.
Mhm.
So I don't really
Which is
know.
kind of what you want.
Yeah, I don't really know how much you can like polish that. It is not a remaster. It is a remake.
Yeah,
Which
it
is,
looks like they fully remade like the visuals and even the
yeah,
cutscenes too, which
yeah.
is it's cool by
They've
all
been
accounts.
calling it a remake, so obviously there's room there to change and tweak things. I just don't know how much they're going to do that.
Mhm.
Um, but it was treated as, I mean, the original Epic Mickey was pretty, did very well sales wise and definitely sent some, uh, ripples through the internet at the time. Like there was so many people who were just obsessed with that game or like obsessed with that, you know, the idea of that game at least.
Mhm. And it was
Um,
popular enough for a sequel.
yeah, which unfortunately I hear is extremely unfinished and not good. So truly unepic.
Yeah.
What was something that you liked, that we haven't talked about so far? One up.
Yeah, a nice surprise for me was the Star Wars Battlefront collection.
Yes.
Those were big games for my childhood,
Yeah.
and
I wasn't expecting that.
yeah, I
Especially
hope there's
with,
crossplay. I don't think they've mentioned that,
I don't think they have mentioned it. No.
but
But
it'll be cool to play those games online on the Switch,
yeah, up to
because
64
they're really
people.
fun.
And I mean, if people who may have experienced them primarily on like PS2, for example, probably most likely did not play online,
Yeah, when I was a
with
kid,
us
these
back
were
then.
just these were just single player games for
Yeah,
me.
yeah, or like people would
Uh,
play locally. Like I had a lot of friends who were really into them, especially Battlefront 2.
yeah.
Um, I do think it's interesting that they're adding new content.
So I
Um,
don't know if it's new
it
content.
seems
It's
so,
like
yeah.
pre-order
It's
content, and it's like special edition content. Like maybe like the
yeah.
Xbox version had like a special map or something.
Yeah, so I guess what I
Uh,
read after this announcement is that there was a fan mod that ported some of this Xbox only and like some of this other, extra content to the PC version, and I guess it seems like the Asper may have lifted this work, but like not the current version of it.
Hmm.
So like it's kind of like the like it's an older, less good version of it.
Yeah.
So I'm curious how that's all gonna play out.
Yeah.
If they're willing to you know uh, tweak it. And that's obviously there's the whole kind of like you know I'm sure there are plenty of opinions out there in regards to them lifting that work. I guess it's not the only time they've done it too. Um, but one of the things that's been added is new maps like Jabba's Palace. Well, quote
Hmm.
unquote new maps like
Yeah.
Jabba's Palace. And then Battlefront 2 gets like Bespin and some other stuff, and then a couple of additional characters as well.
Hmm.
Um, that's March 14th. Um,
Yeah. Oh, that's very soon.
so I mean, if they are going to be tweaking that content in the way, I would imagine it would be post launch.
Yeah.
Um, but they
And
do have the online up to 64 people. So
yeah. I don't know how many it was on the like originals consoles. I wonder if it was
I
that
think
or
it was the same. I may be wrong on that. I'm sure people
hmm.
will correct us, but um, either
There's
way,
also it says expanded hero assault. I guess like the
Mm.
hero mode was only available on certain maps. Now it's available on all the ground maps.
Oh, okay. I was curious
So
about that. Yeah, I
it's
remember that
a little
hero
expanded.
mode thing. Yeah, so there's some additions and tweaks, but it's
Yeah.
it's nice that this gets to release because I think the common opinion, at least from people I've heard, is that the original Battlefront games are much better than the more recent entries. And I mean, who knows? I haven't played
Yeah,
the
I will say
newer
the original
ones.
ones have a lot of nostalgia, and they're just really fun games.
Yeah, I
They have all
know.
the space combat, and the space combat didn't make its way to the new one.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
right. I forgot about
so.
that. And to me, that's like the stuff that I'm most interested in.
It's
Um,
fun. It's $30 for two games. I hope that the
mm,
multiplayer you can like switch between. Like it would be cool if you could like play a multiplayer map in one, and then it could like switch like
right. Like depending
seamlessly to like a
on
map in two.
Yeah, like depending on the characters and the maps that you choose, it
Yeah.
chooses the correct version of the game as opposed to having to go into one, start
Hmm.
online in one. Yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah.
hope it's more,
Yeah,
but who
I'm not
knows?
sure how that will play out. I'm kind of doubt it, but who knows?
Hmm.
Um
Exciting. A cool announcement that I was not expecting.
yeah. Another one that I think um got leaked before the presentation, but was still something that I really wanted and was happy to see is Super Monkey Ball Banana Rumble.
Yes.
I really wish they would stop naming these games very similarly to one another.
Yeah.
It's very hard to keep track for I think the average person, and even for me, like my brain is like, what was this one again? Banana what?
Hmm. There's
Um,
Banana Blitz.
yeah,
There's
there's
like we
Banana
get it. Monkeys like
Mania.
bananas. You can be
Yeah,
a little more creative than
it's
that.
like Banana Blitz, Banana Mania, now Banana Rumble. Just change banana to something else for one
Yeah.
game. Like make it monkey. Actually, don't make it monkey because there's already a monkey in Super Monkey. Anyway,
Super Monkey Ball apes away. I don't
yeah.
know.
But yeah, so
All my apes gone.
it is a Switch exclusive, which is interesting
Yeah,
because
that's cool.
the previous couple have been on all platforms, including PC, and I wasn't expecting them to do a. I mean, I figure that it probably performs best on Switch and then maybe PC, but I wasn't expecting them to straight up make it Switch exclusive. And if nothing else, I would have guessed like Switch and PC, but it seems that is
Yeah.
not the
I mean,
case.
it seems like they're making like motion control like
It
a
is an
major
option.
thing.
Well, it is an option. Yeah, they
Yeah.
were very quick to specify that it's optional, which is
Mm.
fine. The big new mechanic is the spin dash, which is shares the name of the Sonic
Yeah.
move, and that I like better theoretically than a jump. I'm still
Mm.
skeptical,
Yeah.
but what I do like is I like what I've seen of the level design so far. They're promising over 200 stages. It seems like they've learned stuff, especially from Banana Mania when they revisited the original Super Monkey Ball games. They kept the customization, which I think is very cool. Like that was a fun
Hmm.
aspect of that remake. They've gone with four player co op for adventure mode, and then finally like actual 16 player online um, battles, um, and
Yeah,
against each other, which I think is great.
my I hope that some of the mini games returned.
Yeah,
I would love to play Monkey Target online. That would
yeah.
sink a lot, steal a lot of my time.
I think so. The only thing they really announced in terms of online is this. There's like three battle modes so far. One's a race, which is a traditional monkey
Mhm.
ball mini game. There's one that's like banana horde or whatever. You have to get the most bananas, and then there's one called Robot Smash, where you have to like blow up
Mm.
different robot enemies, which is kind of neat. So not quite, you know, like it's definitely not exactly the mini games from previous ones. I don't know if they will also include some of those if there are more modes. Um, what the deal is with that, but I am happy to see that they are going hard on the co-op multiplayer adventure and the 16 player online. It's a little bit um it's a little bit unclear if you can do adventure mode online co-op as well. The wording is kind of weird on it in some places. I'm gonna assume no. Um, but maybe who knows? I just think it looks really solid, and
Mhm.
I'm glad that they're back on a good path after
Yeah,
Banana
and
Mania.
again, a new non-remake.
Yeah, and that's June 25th, so
Mm.
nice mid-year summer
This year's
game.
shaping up to have some fun, smaller stuff.
Yeah,
Endless Ocean, Banana, whatever,
yeah,
Banana
exactly,
Rumble.
right? Yeah, Banana Rumble, Banana Mania, whatever. Yeah, Banana Rumble. Um, this presentation in general, I felt had a lot of good middle tier um, entries
Yeah.
for the year, which is personally stuff that I enjoy.
Mhm.
Um, we there was even a segment for the Suika game multiplayer DLC,
Yeah, that was a funny announcement.
which I'm actually pretty stoked about, especially once they add online to it in a free update. So that's cool. Um, were there any others that really like majorly stuck out to you?
Um,
There's one I'm thinking of that I'm surprised you haven't mentioned yet.
there's two things.
Okay, go for it.
Um, I think I'll let you take one. I liked seeing Fantasy Life appear again.
Oh, yes. Yep.
Uh, and I really hope that turns out well.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
still like, I'm cautious.
yeah, that's the latest release date we got. That's October 10th.
Yeah,
Um,
I hope it's good though, because
yeah, the
that could
3DS
be
one
like
was
a
fun.
fun late year game.
Yeah. But what was the other one you had in mind? Because I'm actually not sure.
Oh, the rare games.
Oh, yes, yes. Yeah, so that was kind of surprising as well. Killer Instinct, Battletoads, and Battle Maniacs for Super Nintendo, Snake Rattle and Roll and RC Pro Am, the latter of which I really like for
I like
NES.
Snake Rattle and Roll.
I
I
think
think it's
Snake Rattle
fun.
and Roll is neat too, yeah. And
Yeah,
then Blast Core for
yeah, that's the
N64.
coolest one. But
I'm just happy to see Killer Instinct, honestly.
yeah, that's cool to see on the Switch.
I really hope that eventually they bring some of the other versions in. Like, I hope we see Killer Instinct on Game Boy, just because, like, you're paying for the service. It's not like you're buying these individually. So
Mhm.
if you have some of their like unique versions across multiple platforms, it's kind of whatever. It's not like they're cannibalizing one another.
Yeah,
Because I played a
there's
lot of the
also
Game Boy one growing up, and the soundtrack is really cool. So I have a special
mm,
place in my heart for that.
maybe Switch 2 will get the new one.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe we'll get KI Gold on N64 eventually. Um, the game I'm surprised you didn't bring up was World of Goo 2.
Oh, I mean, it wasn't anything new. Uh,
Yeah, yeah,
I was super excited the first time they announced that.
yeah,
Uh, I mean, the footage looked great. It
yeah,
looks super fun every time I see it. It looks like there's so much more creativity
yeah. The different
than even
like
the
goo
first one had.
types. Yeah,
Yeah, more good types. The levels look more varied.
yeah, and that's another
Um,
one that's it's
really
a
fun.
console exclusive, so Switch and
Hmm.
PC. That's May 23rd. Which that was a very much a darling of the early WiiWare
Yeah, and just like
time.
an early indie like mega
Yeah,
hit.
yeah, and it's nice to see it back here and also have the four player co-op to it, which I
Yeah,
guess is
that's Switch
exclusive.
exclusive. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Um,
associate World of Goo with like Binding of Isaac and like Spelunky in terms of like those like early like indie games that just like became like big phenomenons.
Yeah, yeah, same.
Exciting stuff.
The I guess I'll mention briefly because we're not really RPG people, I don't think.
Mm.
Obviously there was Shin
I'm
Megami
becoming an
Tensei.
RPG person slowly.
Are you interested in Shin Megami Tensei 5
No,
Vengeance? Oh, okay.
not even the
Not
slightest
even
bit.
slightest. Okay. Poor SMT. Are you interested in Unicorn Overlord? They did put out a demo.
Sort of, maybe.
Because I heard it's very Fire Emblem like.
Yeah, that one actually looks kind of cool.
It is a
I
vanillaware
love their
game.
visual styles,
Yeah.
and it looks like a huge game, by all
Yeah.
accounts.
And there's that other game which isn't an RPG, but I just saw on the list here, Snufkin. It's like that hand drawn kind of. It's not Pentiment. It's the other one with like a hand drawn
Yeah,
style. Um, which I
I
remember
don't
looking at a while ago and thinking it was neat, but I don't remember why I thought it was neat.
I don't know anything about Snufkin.
Yeah, I don't really either. Monster Hunter Stories is getting a Switch
Yeah,
version.
that was a cool announcement. I will
Yeah,
not play that,
yeah,
but
same. I thought
nice.
I thought that a Ranger game looked really neat.
Oh,
Um,
it looked
it's like a slide
interesting.
puzzle,
Yeah,
or I don't know. That would probably be like the closest thing I play to an RPG would be
yeah.
that game.
I something about that one. Maybe it was like too close to it like triggered my like hatred of sliding block puzzles, even though it's not like that at all.
I just thought back like
Um,
to playing with the annoying slide puzzles and like the orthodontist waiting room. Um, the big game that's out now that I want to play and I haven't
but
been
yeah.
able to yet is Penny's Big Breakaway.
Mhm.
It looks very fun to me. The acrobatics and movement and all that fun stuff. I've heard a couple of different things. I've heard people seem to mostly be digging it so far, but a little bit is kind of jank and can use some improvement. And I know on Switch
Yeah.
it unfortunately runs at 30 FPS with dips,
Mm.
um, which isn't
That's
great.
for a game that looks like that retro style. It's
Yeah,
just
it's
like,
very much like a
come
Saturn,
on.
a Saturn
You
style.
could have
Yeah, I'm not sure if
you
it's
could
kind of
have.
just coming out. It seems like it's coming out a little hot.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm gonna wait for a few patches
yeah, I'm probably gonna
before
wait a little
digging in.
bit. The big thing for me is it is $30, which is fine. It's just
Mhm.
for that price, I'd rather own it on a cartridge. Like that's
Yeah,
kind of like my like where my threshold's at, where it's like so I might wait for a sale and some patches, but like I
yeah,
do really want to play it. It does look very fun, even with
yeah.
whatever.
It looks really good. I heard like someone on the Discord was saying it gets better and better like as the game goes on. Like
Yeah,
the
that's
worlds get
cool.
more and more interesting.
That's cool. Yeah, I saw there was a developer playthrough of the first level where they did like one continuous combo
Mm.
through the whole stage, which was kind of neat looking. And I hadn't realized because there hasn't been any like I haven't experienced any hands-on with the game, but I didn't realize that basically the whole game, you move with the left stick and then the yo-yo is controlled with the right stick. So it's
Oh,
kind of a
I
dual
didn't
stick
realize that.
game. Yeah,
That's
so
interesting.
you shoot the yo-yo in different directions with the right stick. You can cause like spins and flips, and then your jump button is actually up on the bumpers. So, um, yeah, it's
Mhm.
analog stick to move, right stick
Interesting.
for the yo-yo and bumper. And it seems like it makes
Hmm.
sense
A little different.
for
Yeah,
how the
I
game
like
is.
that.
But like, you can do like if you spin the right stick, she'll start doing like the spin with the yo-yo and like
Mhm.
like it makes sense. It's just I guess I hadn't really thought about it.
Mhm.
um
Yeah, I definitely didn't think about that either.
the soundtrack sounds amazing from what I've heard so far. Um I'm again it's just it is the Sonic Mania team. It is I believe they're now rebranded as Evernight Studio. I'm probably going to be wrong on that. It's either Evernight or Everlight. Um, so I am really stoked that they're doing their first, their own IP and that it's a 3D Saturn style platformer. Was one of the big highlights for me.
The developer
Yes.
is called. No, they don't list developers on the Nintendo
So annoying. Yeah, I believe it's
site.
Evernight. And then the other thing too is I played another Crab's Treasure at PAX this past year.
Oh, I
Um,
think it's Evening Star.
Evening Star. That's it. Yeah, I don't know where I got whatever Evernight. Yeah, it was kind of close.
Yeah,
Um,
continue with the crab game.
The crab game, another Crab's Treasure. So they keep pushing it as like this Souls-like game, and the combat, yes, I guess. The game is very much that, and like a mix of that and like a 3D platformer though. Um, I played it at PAX, and it was a lot of 3D platforming in it, which I
Oh,
really
that's
liked.
good. Yeah.
Um,
I
but
don't like the Souls aspects
yeah,
of it,
I
but
don't like
the platformer stuff sounds fun.
yeah, and it's not really like, I mean, it's like it, I guess. Like I don't really know how. It's very reductive to me
Mm.
to call something a Souls like, or like, it's kind of I don't know, like I think someone once said something like Crash Bandicoot is the Souls game of PS, or something stupid like that. I'm like, all right, so like what does that actually mean? I mean, it does have some mechanics that are obviously shared between the two, but
Mm.
it definitely felt a bit snappier to me from what I recall. And I'm someone who doesn't really enjoy Soul stuff so far, um, but uh, the game was really neat and had a lot of different shells that you can get, and they have different powers. But it was really the platforming that and kind of a little bit of the exploration of it that I thought was most interesting. Um, I don't think I played this. I don't believe that was the Switch version I played. I believe they had a PC build running
Mm.
at
That makes
PAX.
sense.
But that's April 25th, and I think it's really cool, and I hope people check it out.
Yeah, it looks clever.
The same kind of goes for Pepper Grinder, which I haven't gotten to try the demo for
Oh,
yet.
that looks really fun. I
Yeah,
really want to try that demo.
that's the Devolver game um, for this one, and it's looked interesting to me for a while. They had a demo for that at PAX too, but the the whole line booth situation for that was not
Mm.
great, so I didn't end up
Yeah.
trying it. But I've heard from people who played the demo so far that it's really good. I've downloaded it. I haven't gotten the chance to play it. But it looks like like I love Drill Dozer, and Drill Dozer's a bit of a different game, but this one is more like movement based, it seems.
Yeah,
Um,
it looks like a really just like smooth moving platformer, and
yeah,
it takes a lot for me to be interested in 2D platformers these days, but this one sticks out to me as looking very fun.
yeah, I think it's really cool. It has I like the visuals. I don't I don't love them, but I do like them.
I like them. I'm a
Yeah.
fan of that.
It's definitely they're definitely much nicer than Contra Operation Galuga, whatever it is.
I heard
Um,
that demo sucked.
I haven't gotten to play it yet. Someone was telling me in the server that the Switch version in particular has a lot of input lag, whereas the other versions didn't seem to, or at least the Xbox version didn't. I think that game is hideous looking. I don't know what budget that they gave WayForward to work with in this game. I like that it's Contra. I like that they've included 4 player. They've even included some of like the the robot characters from the European version and
Mm,
stuff. But as an expanded remake of Contra 1 that kind of just looks very not nice, and I'm kind of not sold. Man, I'm just so conflicted because like I did really like Contra 4. It has
mm,
its issues, but Contra 4 on DS is a really cool game, also by Way Forward. Um, and I mean, I don't know how many of the same people are working on this one, but it reminds me of do you remember Blaster Master Overdrive on WiiWare?
um, sort of.
It has this like pre-rendered sprite look.
Hmm.
Um, now I believe Contra I believe is 3D, but like it reminds me of that ugly pre-rendered sprite look.
Yeah,
I don't
it,
know.
it. I'm looking at screenshots now, and it just
It's
looks
like
ugly.
yeah, like in motion. It's just not that that would like stop me, but I am worried gameplay wise about it. Like I don't. They haven't really said much about it, and like it's kind of suddenly here. I just really want it to be good. I downloaded that demo and I haven't had the
It's
chance.
expensive too. It's $40.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's $40 for what looks like a very bad remake of Contra One.
I'll be real honest. I was expecting like 20.
Yeah, I
For
was
what it
surprised.
like if I don't. Yeah, I don't know about that.
There,
I'm gonna try the demo, but
uh, can I point out one of the weirdest announcement of
oh
this
sure, yeah.
direct? they're making a Demon Slayer Mario Party game,
I saw that.
and they're
Sega was
charging
just
$60 for
Yeah,
it.
Sega was just all over the place in this direct.
Mm.
Demon Slayer, they had Monkey Ball, they had Shimigami Tensei. Um, they were just like kind of just randomly like popping on all cylinders for this direct. And yeah, that was like one of the ones that was in the montage, I think. And yeah, that's
Why?
I don't know.
Why did Mario Party Demon Slayer
I don't
like
know.
I
I'm not into or familiar really with Demon Slayer. I have no idea, you know, what the appeal of that might be. It's
it's an
certainly not
action
for
show,
me. I
but yeah,
mean, yeah,
it's so
it's certainly not for me.
yeah.
Um, but you know, sure, I guess. I hope it's fun for the people who would dig it.
Yeah.
I am happy about Pocket Card Jockey. That's probably the
Yeah, I
last
was gonna
thing.
say that was like the last game on the list that was
Yeah,
like of any interest to me scrolling through it.
which I don't know if the demo's out in the US yet. They promised that it would be out on the day of the direct, but it was not. And I know it
Oh, it
was out in
wasn't.
Europe. The game itself is out, but the
I,
demo
c- I
was
can say
not
the
out.
demo's out now. I can see it on the site.
Okay, good. So I'm gonna download that. I played a bit of it on 3DS and really liked it, but it was just it kind of just released at a time, or I grabbed it at a time where I was like, you know, in between a bunch of different things. I also very much prefer how it looks on 3DS.
Oh,
I'm
rather than
not,
the 3D
yeah,
style.
I'm not
Yeah.
really wild about the 3D style, but
Pocket Card Jockey is a game that like I should on paper love. I think it's
yeah,
clever. I think it's charming. I like
yeah,
solitaire.
yeah.
When I tried it on Apple Arcade, I don't know, it
Hmm.
just didn't super click with me.
Yeah, and that's right. So
Uh,
this one had previously released on Apple Arcade, and everyone was
yeah,
wondering when is this thing gonna make it over to Switch, and so now it is. I yeah, I'm not crazy about horse games, like horse racing games. I don't really play those. I'm
hmm.
not really crazy about breeding horses. I'm not crazy about solitaire either,
It seems
there's
like this
some
game is not for you.
but there's something about it that I just found very like I think it's because it's like speed solitaire. Like if it was
Yeah,
just like, you
the
know,
writing's charming too.
yeah, there's that. There's a lot it's more than the sum of its parts, I think.
Mhm.
Um and I did really enjoyed what I played of it on 3DS. I also don't remember much of what I played of it on 3DS, so I really do want to like hop into it on Switch eventually. I hope it's not going to be one of those situations too where like I wait on it so long and then I finally grab it and then other stuff, comes out. The other thing is
Yeah,
I want to say and I may be wrong, but I believe the 3DS version was like $8 or $10. The Switch version is 15.
yeah. What you mean is it's not bad. That's
It's
not
not
like a
bad.
huge.
I don't think it's like, some horrible
They're
thing,
charging $40 for a
The Contra one not
for a
remake,
Contra
yeah.
remake.
Uh,
So
they
15 bucks, not
I
bad.
don't remember if they had online racing in the original game or not. I don't remember that,
I don't
but I also
think so.
don't
I
know,
wonder if
so
that's from the Apple Arcade one or I wonder if that's new.
yeah, I would assume that it's one or the other, yeah. And I'm
Mm.
glad that they're going back to Pocket Card Jockey. Obviously, I would love a sequel. Um, I'm glad to see Game Freak doing non-Pokemon stuff. Um,
Yeah,
I want my Harmo Knight sequel
yeah, that's a cool
still.
game.
um, but seeing Pocket Card Jockey makes me happy. And again, it's just another one of those small titles that I feel like I feel like this kind of presentation or like direct presentations in general are the only kind to really like spotlight some of these games that are
Hmm.
a bit on the smaller side. Not even like indie titles, which obviously there's indie worlds and stuff like that, but it's like the kind of like low to mid tier third party stuff. Um,
Yeah, no,
that
it's honestly it's really good.
yeah,
It gives place like ending. You can't end a regular direct with Endless Ocean,
sure, yeah,
but you can end a partner direct with one.
yeah, or like you know, um, even I feel like endless ocean and like the rare stuff could have easily been in a standard presentation,
Mhm.
um but like it's really the stuff that's like, oh, we're gonna show off, we're gonna give a big spotlight to Penny, and that's gonna release today,
Mhm.
or we're gonna give a really big spotlight to I don't know, well, again, this one has been kind of weird because there are some high profile things in here like SMT, Monster Hunter Stories, Super Monkey
Hmm.
Ball. Those would all be in standard
Hmm.
presentations, I feel like.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
so it's kind of a weird middle ground. So I don't really know how to classify it, but there are certain games on here like a Ranger or like
Yeah.
that Tales of Kenzera. It's like an EA original, or
Ooh,
you
I don't
know
even remember that.
it was like it kind of looked a little rough, but they didn't. It was part of a montage.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
but
Look at it now.
like there was there,
Oh, that game. Yeah, that
yeah.
didn't look
But
very
like
great.
World of Goo 2 getting its time in the sun.
Mhm.
Again, it's a mix of hyper. Like you're not gonna say that Disney Epic Mickey is not a high profile, or that
Yeah,
Star Wars is not a high profile game, but some of
but
the
they're
stuff
not high
they're,
profile releases.
yeah, yeah. I
Like
mean, it's certainly not
it's
like
not like a new Kingdom Hearts or like a
yeah,
brand new Star Wars adventure.
yeah.
They're
It's like
they're ports,
somewhere,
they're
it's
remakes.
somewhere in the middle, yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously we have a lot of ports and remasters and remakes pretty much every year
Mhm.
at this point, and in Switch Life. But it is nice to see some new stuff like the Endless
Mhm.
Ocean sequel,
Yeah.
the Fantasy Life sequel, even Shin Megami Tensei 5. It's an enhanced re-release with like a new story path, like the new
I guess
Monkey
it's like
Ball.
a Persona 5 Royal type thing.
Yeah, it seems like there's like a split at some point, almost,
Mm.
I guess, not too dissimilar to the Fire Emblem Three Houses, where like you go through a chunk of the game and at some point you make a decision and the story branches in one of two ways.
Which is
Um,
like those games are long.
they are extremely long,
So
and
like if you
again,
beat that game on
yeah,
before, you're gonna have to replay like
and then
probably
you
like
gotta,
40
yeah,
hours of it before you get to the new stuff.
exactly, which I'm just like, I'm not into
No,
that.
thank you. Not for me.
I'm not, again, I'm not an RPG person, but like, oh my
Yeah.
lord. Um, but I don't know. Like I saw some reactions to it when I was watching it. At the end, I was like, oh, that was actually pretty good. Like I felt like there was a good
Yeah.
amount of variety.
There's
Um,
multiple games I want to buy.
yeah, like I came up with multiple things that I was interested in. There was variety. It wasn't all RPGs or weeb games. It wasn't
Mhm.
all 2D platformers, or it wasn't all indie stuff. It wasn't there was there was some variance there, and I felt like at least most people would at least find like one or two things that they were
Mhm.
interested in
Yeah,
from that. But
I agree.
I saw some opinions that it was really awful, and like I can't agree on that.
I can't.
I don't know what people
No,
expect, but like obviously people got mad about Mother 3 in Japan, whatever. I'm not even gonna go there.
we were never gonna get
We're
that.
never gonna get it. I'm sorry, we're not. Um,
Go play it on an emulator. It's fine.
go play the translation patch. But um, and it's just I don't really know what people expect with these presentations. Obviously the partner name kind of has like this like this, what is it? What would you call it? Like this like tinge of
Stigma.
fear. Yeah, it has like this like stigma, this fear about it that it's gonna be very not good. And I honestly I'm thinking back to because they haven't done many of the partner ones specifically with that branding. And there were a few partners that had some really high profile and interesting stuff in them, but I feel like for me at least, this was probably the best partner showcase that had
Yeah,
the
I
most
mean,
stuff and the most
yeah.
variety. The pacing was pretty good. Outside of like the very beginning, um, I feel like there was something for everybody there. Like if you like video games, I feel like there's something in here that you're into,
Mhm.
or you're at least like that's neat.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't really,
I had a good time.
yeah, I really liked it. Obviously we have the Pokemon Presents in a few days. Maybe we'll do that next week.
Yeah, that'd be
Um,
fun. Yeah, we always have people that love want to talk about Pokemon.
yeah. So like, again, it's one of the, and a few days before the partner was announced, there was, I guess, the Twitter direct going on with
Yeah,
some things like the new Princess Peach um
trailer.
trailer and info, and I know Side Order also came out the same day as the partner
Mhm.
direct. Um, so it's not like there isn't stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like we go through this every single year where it's like it's February or January and there's nothing coming after June or April or whatever, and
Mhm.
there's this mass panic, and obviously there's been rumors swirling around about Switch successor and its release timing, and oh well, that's coming out this year, so they've got nothing for Switch One. Like it's just it's the same thing every year, and I don't
I think we're gonna
understand.
have a I think we're gonna have another Twitter Direct soon,
Yeah,
going
there,
over like Luigi's Mansion 2 and Thousand
yeah,
Year Door.
there
I
is.
don't think we'll get a direct for those.
Yeah, I know Luigi's Mansion 2 went up for pre-order on GameStop today, actually. Interestingly labeled at 59.99. Same with TTYD. I don't know if those are
Well,
placeholders or what, but
I bet they're not.
I doubt that TTYD is. Luigi's Mansion, I'm a little bit not sure. I'm hoping that we have a situation later this year, kind of like Pikmin 1 and 2, where they're also working on Luigi's Mansion 1 HD and they do a physical release of the two of them together. That's my
Oh, that'd be
hope,
cool.
but there's
Yeah.
no sign of that so far.
I usually these Nintendo remakes have some new content, so I'm wondering what's
hmm
coming to those games.
Yeah.
Uh,
Then again, you have something like Miitopia, which was fully remade but didn't have that much in the way of additional content. So it's kind of like you win some, you lose some
hmm.
with some of these. But now we have we had Side Order and Mario versus Donkey Kong this month. January had another code. March has Princess Peach. Now May has Endless Ocean. We still have Luigi's Mansion 2 and TTYD for this year. And then there's the ever elusive Metroid Prime 4, which the only reason I'm bringing that up
Mhm.
is that someone who I guess leaked Disney Epic Mickey Rebrushed is also claiming that Metroid Prime 4 is on track for this year. So,
I that would be a good. I mean, in a year that's this slow, I think
yeah.
something like Prime would be great.
Yeah, and I feel like, obviously that's like I feel like that's now kind of like the ultimate Switch game now at this point
It's
with how long
it's
it's.
it's the swan song of the
Yeah,
Switch
it's
at this
like I feel like
point.
it's the swan song, yeah. So I don't know if they'll do something where it's like enhanced on a successor or if there's two versions of
Yeah,
it like a Twilight Princess sort of deal or
I
Breath
thought
of the
they were going to
Wild
come out on
deal.
the same day, but now with these rumors of the Switch 2 being delayed to next year, then I
Yeah,
think they'll just it'll. I think it'll release on Switch 1.
yeah. Um and then obviously the Pokemon thing's coming up and there's probably going to be something there. I'm sure there's going to be some kind of Pokemon holiday title. I'm hoping they do a Pokemon spin-off on console this year, maybe
Like
in
Pokemon
springtime.
Pinball.
I wish. But it's the you know what? I'm gonna shout out Connor right now. Connor, I hope it's Pokemon Mystery Dungeon
Yeah.
for
And
you.
it seems by all accounts that new Shiren the Wanderer
Yeah, it turned out
is
good. Yeah, I
fantastic.
heard it turned out great.
It has like an 88.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
awesome. I'm glad that those games can come out and
that's really
exist
cool.
and
Yeah,
do
it
well
sounds
and
like a
people
really good
dig
one
them.
of those.
So I'm gonna hope for Connor. I'm gonna hope for
Mhm.
Connor that
Yeah.
that Pokemon gives him
Yeah.
Pokemon Mystery Dungeon.
A brand new mystery
I
dungeon,
feel like
not a
he
remake.
deserves it. If nothing
Mhm.
else, even if it's a Pokemon Mystery Dungeon 2 remake, I think those are the ones the set that he likes the most.
Okay, that's good.
Whatever. Like if it's one of if it's that cool, it would be probably good for like the April or May,
Yeah.
June-ish, spring time slot and then probably something Pokemon for holiday and maybe
Yeah.
Metroid for who knows.
I'm curious what the remake looks like. This is a remake year, right?
Which one?
Like a Pokemon remake year.
Oh,
So it'll be
well,
like,
people seem to think it is. I don't know if that is going to be the case, but
do you
I
think
know
it
there
might be
are.
like an Arceus 2 or something? That'd be
Yeah,
awesome.
I know people. There's some people who believe that we're gonna get Unova remakes this year,
Mhm.
possibly in the BDSP style or in another style. Other people think it's gonna be an Unova game, but not a remake. So maybe a
Oh, interesting.
Legends esque. I don't
I
know
would love a
necessarily.
new Legends
Yeah,
game.
I don't know if it would
That was super
necessarily
fun.
be. I don't know if it would
Mhm.
necessarily be Legends like, but it would be a Legends esque sort of like unique thing. That's personally my hope is that
Mhm.
that's what it is because all of the Pokemon experiences on Switch so far for mainline have been very differentiated. Let's Go is very different from Sword, which is very different from Legends,
Mhm.
which is different from BDSP, which is different from Scarlet Violet. So I feel like with how they've been doing them, the thing that makes most sense is to have something else unique, and maybe that's a Unova game for this year leading into an eventual Unova remake for like
Mhm.
Switch 2 or something. I don't know. Um, but I think the Pokemon Presents always has at least a couple of nice things. As much as I would love for us to get Pokemon Pinball, um, you know. maybe at the least we can get Pokemon Pinball on NSO.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Eventually, I feel like that has to happen. I know there's rumors and people believing that this is the year that they announced Pokemon Gen 1 for Game Boy Switch Online. So who knows? You know,
Yeah,
there's stuff happening.
it would be cool.
It would be nice to
Game
finally.
Boy NSO has been tragic.
Sega
Uh,
Sega NSO has been tragic not because of the content, but because of the last update was in June.
yeah,
So it's
Game
been
Boy is
very
just
weird.
like
Yeah,
they had like the lowest amount of games at launch, and they've
yeah,
like barely added anything.
yeah. Even GBA has gotten more than Game Boy,
Yeah.
which I mean makes sense in one sense because it's a more premium tier, but like
Mm.
I don't know. There's so many Game Boy and Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance games that I felt like at least like the first few updates, or at least like for like the first year or so, the updates would be a bit more frequent and then sort of start
Yeah,
tapering off like the
it's
NES and
so
SNES
bad.
ones. I know
Um,
everyone's mad because Mother 3 is, on Japanese NSO. I guess technically you could download that Japanese NSO app and play it, but again, it's not translated. I think at this point, what I would say to everyone who is interested in playing Mother 3 is just get the damn translation patch. I'm
yeah,
sorry, like, it's not
I'm probably
happening.
gonna play the translation this year.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with going for it at this point. The game is
No.
how many years old now? Um,
I believe if the game came out in America ever, it would have so many changes that you'd be better off just playing the translation anyway.
yeah, I feel like it's kind of a situation where people are very attached to the translation patch now, at this point, and if they put out their own translation of it, it would be like one of those lose lose situations where
Well,
it's like,
they would have to change so much content. Like, there's a lot
yeah,
of stuff that
there's
like would
stuff
not
in
fly
there
these
that
days.
people feel like would be bad, yeah, and I'm not explicitly familiar with that content, but
I'm not
just
totally either.
just the thought that like, oh, they'll put out their own translation, and then the small base that's interested in this game will hate it because it's so different from the fan translation, or maybe from some of the
Yeah.
stuff in the original release, that like they won't want it either, and it's kind of like this big lose lose deal. I feel like the rumors about it possibly happening a few years ago and then them deciding against it was sort of the final nail in the coffin there. Sad to say. I know people really hope for that, but it's kind of whatever. I did think it was funny that US Twitter was complaining about Mother 3 and Japan getting it, and then Japanese Twitter seemed to be at least partially complaining about only getting Mother 3 and not getting the rare stuff. So, you know, I guess one one man's trash is another crab's treasure. Um, but yeah, do you have any other final thoughts before we
uh,
wrap it up?
no, I think that's pretty much it. I
Yeah.
like that direct. I really want to play Endless Ocean.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm stoked for Monkey Ball. I really hope they don't
yeah.
mess it up. I'm cautiously optimistic.
Mhm.
I think there's still a lot of good stuff coming to Switch this year. Like even if you don't consider the shadow drops this week, like it was another like insane eShop week where there's like 30 games, dropping at
Yeah.
any given time. And side order hitting as well. It was nice. So
Mhm.
the toys are back in town for me this Sunday, potentially Sunday or
Oh,
Monday.
yeah, my game will be arriving soon too.
Thanks to you, yes, I now get to experience the toys
Yeah. It's gonna be
back
my
in
first
town.
time playing fully through it.
Cool. Yeah, I really liked the original game. And you know, at that price, new for 30 is pretty much what I would want to pay for it. So,
Yeah.
um, I am excited about that. But yeah, I think that's gonna kind of wrap it up today. We'll probably be back next week for the Pokemon
Yeah, hopefully we'll
Presents.
be back more now that like the Nintendo news is starting to heat
Yeah.
up again.
I know PAX is next month, which I'm gonna be at as well. So
Hell yeah.
if they have a presence there, I will check it
Mhm.
out and check the demos out and see what I can uh, report back with. Although I think it's happening around the time that Peach comes out, so
Mm.
unless there's something else, which they might be holding back. There's been rumors of like that there's an indie world coming up too, and that there's a
Mm.
general mini coming up like after that. So who knows?
Oh,
It
that'd be great.
All I know is that the news always gets out eventually, and
Yeah.
all the hand wringing is always just like insufferable and
They've been
pointless.
pretty good at keeping even like the slow Switch years have still like
Yeah,
had some fun smaller first party stuff, and I expect
yeah.
the same this year.
And I feel like last year ended with like some decent stuff too, especially with like Super Mario Bros. Wonder, like being
Yeah,
like
I
the
don't
big
think I
holiday.
really don't think Thousand Year Door is gonna be the biggest like first
No,
party game this year.
no, hell no.
Uh,
There's gonna be something for holiday. They always do this with their
mhm.
release announcements. I don't understand why every single year it's like this. I understand people are like trauma stricken from like Wii U times, but like,
Yeah.
holy crap, it's so old at this point. I'm sorry, I'm so done with it. So I am looking forward to it, but yeah. So either way, I'm behind as hell on Switch stuff. I'm playing through Sonic Superstars on Switch right now.
Oh, I'm so
Which
sorry.
yeah, I am too. It's been very slow going because I've been playing other stuff instead.
Mhm.
Playing through Side Order now very slowly, so we'll see. But I think once Mario versus Donkey Kong shows up, I'm gonna go ape on it because I just like that game a lot. Um,
Yeah.
so, all right, guys. Well, we'll see you next time. Thanks,
Yeah. Of
One Up, for being here.
course. Thank you.
We will catch you with more. Hopefully, we'll have some super exciting stuff at the Pokemon thing next week. And in the meantime, enjoy.
Yeah.
Peace.
Have a good night, everybody. Peace.